guys. I'm Zahavia. I'm sure most of you, I've been in touch with most of our town hall people. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. Let's start by giving a big round of applause to our moderators. The purpose of this session is to understand what are the challenges D2C brands like yourselves face in the region and how we as retail supporters can help you through your journey. So the format will be, I'll be calling out your names. You're welcome to talk about the challenges you face in the business along with any innovation that you've implemented that helps you bridge that gap. From there on, it's all on our moderators, and then they're going to have a little discussion with you, and then we move on to the next. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hands. If you have anything you would like to say, put your hand up, and I'll come and get you the mic. Does that sound good? Okay, awesome. First up, we have Andreas, who's the co-founder at KCAL.
My challenges here in Dubai is traffic. All right, so we're talking about business, of course. I think when you grow a business, the biggest challenge is mindset. When you grow a business from, let's say, 5 employees to 10 employees to 50 employees to 100 employees and so on, the mindset of a founder and an entrepreneur needs to grow with the business. If not, you become the problem. So I think people will always be a challenge, and working and creating a culture that helps you grow your vision and dreams, I think that's always the problem. Once you get into the mode of creating and hiring A players, I wouldn't say hiring A players, because most A players that you hire, they have egos. So if you can create a culture where you create a forum and a feedback culture where you can create A players, that's it. But the challenge is always to get to that point. So the challenge for me throughout the years that I've been running KCAL is always, the people within the business, making sure that we get the right people at the right time.
When do you think is the right time? You said like going from 5 to 10 to when is the right time to start building a culture, and what does building a culture mean?
Okay, so that's a very good question, because if I could go back, I would understand much better right now what it means to build a culture from the start, how people take responsibility, how people care about your business, how people they feel they're part of something. You inspire them to be part of a journey. I think I've learned that over the past 5-6 years more intensively. So I think when you start a company, you start, everybody around, right? Which is great, but you can't keep doing that. And you also got to get to the stage where you know that your colleagues are not your friends. They are there to do a job. And I think a lot of people make the mistake of becoming friends with people, and then the culture starts tilting in the wrong direction. Yeah, does that answer your question?
No,
kind
absolutely.
of? Cool.
Thank you, Andreas.
Thank you so much. Up next, we have Kadriya Tayyib, who's the founder and CEO of Bumblebee.
Hello. Same thing?
Maybe just before we start, I think it would be nice if you give us a bit of what is your company about, so that everyone in the audience get to know before you share your challenges, your ideas, and so on.
KCAL we know, so we didn't pick on Andreas.
Sure. So Bumblebee Food is a meal plan for babies and toddlers. So just like KCAL, but for mini babies. One of the biggest challenges that I faced was, to be honest, logistics, because our food is frozen. So we had problems delivering it, for example, on time. And that's because of the Dubai traffic. So to combat that, we had to buy special boxes for the meals to be delivered frozen, but then traffic got worse. So then we had to buy a frozen van. So now it's better, but the only problem is because of the traffic, sometimes orders go by 8, by 9, and clients complain about that. So we're just trying to find, I think this time we just need to buy a Bugatti so that it just reaches customers on time. And other than that, one of our other challenges now is, because we're moving now to supermarkets, is reaching the supermarkets standards in terms of, certifications and, like, for example, ISO standards and HACCP standards. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I think we will be hearing different stage challenges depending where are you in the journey, and that's where I think your challenges is in the early start. We're still building up the brand and get the certification, getting into retail. And the good news, or what we've seen in the market, is there is a lot of logistics provider, third-party logistics, distributors. You can outsource a lot of these activities, and to reach those providers that are today way more than it used to be, because e-commerce, quick commerce has been scaling up quite massively in UAE, you will need to plug into the community, similar to this community that we have here, to get to know who's out there, who's giving the best rate, best service, and be able to get there faster.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Shri Parvati Sunil, who's the founder of Aura by Shri.
Yeah, okay. Hi, hello, I'm Shri. So, Aura by Shri is a donut shop. I opened a little over a year ago now, so I'm still new to everything business. I always just wanted to get into food and entrepreneurship. So I think now it's been around 15 months since I've been running my bakery, and there have been a lot of different challenges that I've faced, but I think one of the main things I would like to ask you all about is when it comes to hiring. So, of course, when I'm running a bakery, I'm hiring people like pastry chefs, baristas, but I've reached the stage where I need to hire the next level, so let's say the managers. So I don't really know, how do you find this right person? Let's say I want someone in finance. A lot of CVs come, but how do I know who is right for me? Because do you look at the skill set they have, their knowledge of the topic, or is it their personality? And I guess it's like when you reach the next level, I also want to know, like, how do you manage the managers?
Yeah, so from my experience, I think finding people with skill sets is less of a challenge. The desired skill sets are relatively easily available. If you need a finance guy, you know you want somebody who's qualified in finance and has the relevant experience. An accountant, whether in a manufacturing industry or in a retail industry, the basics are the same. So I think the focus, especially at the startup stage, has to be a meeting of the minds in terms of how they relate to you and how you relate to them from a cultural perspective, and the hunger that you have as an entrepreneur. Is that something that you're able to translate to them to be able to get them to achieve their goals? And that's part instinct, and it's also part evidence when you get reactions, and largely I have always gone through that, and it's worked for me.
Maybe I can add to that as well. Recruiting in a startup or a scale-up is very different than recruiting in an established corporation where things are already in place. The smaller the team, the more important that you click with the person. You're able to talk to him, converse with him, align him to the vision that you are trying to drive and to push forward. So absolutely, there's a set of skills, with the technical skills that are easy to tick, right? So I need a financial guy that has experience with F&B, this and that. This is easy to tick. But then when you sit with him and converse with him, that's where you understand, is it someone I can communicate to? Is it someone that is able to adopt my vision, run on my targets, and so on? And that's where it's important to have 1, 2, 3 rounds of interview and get a second opinion as well. Don't rush it, right? And if you are able to find someone with similar experience, especially when it comes to startup and scale up, has he done it before? Because picking someone from an established corporation where things are stable, there's no pressure on top line, and put him in a place where survival is key is not going to be easy. And for him, it will be a big shift. So getting someone with similar experience will help you a lot. And don't shy from reassessing and reevaluating, because you don't have enough time, right? So if things are moving, great, good and well. If things need fixing, fix it and move on.
Great, thank you so much. Next, we have Minnie Kothari, who's the founder of Kaya.
Good evening, everyone. My biggest issue right now that I'm dealing with is how do I battle the competition? Because
Can you just give me a quick word of what your business is?
I'm actually the founder and owner of a brand called Kaya, where we sell imitation jewelry for women. So like I was saying, the biggest problem that I'm facing right now is competition not only locally within UAE, but also internationally, because accessibility to other countries, when you order online, it's become so easy. And to compete with a giant like China it's very difficult to battle at those same prices. So I was just wondering if, what would be the solution to sort of establish my brand amongst the existing and the growing competition as well.
It's an interesting challenge, right? Competition, it's rare for there not to be a competition in any sector. I think the most successful startups or companies I've seen, especially today in today's age, to your point, in digital commerce and all the different types of commerce, is really understanding and connecting with your consumer problems better than them, right? So, yes, if you're doing this exactly the same as the competition, then the differentiation is low. That means your level of understanding versus the manufacturer in China that's just shipping it out is the same. Where you can go deeper is understanding the consumer. Who's my consumer target? What are they looking for? Where is there a problem or an opportunity that others are not fulfilling? And then how to create a product first that really is different. Doesn't need to be more expensive. It's just different, right? Consumer is not finding a solution to X, going and deep diving with the consumer. Okay, this is my consumer segment. What are you buying? Where are you buying it from? What do you like? What do you dislike about this? And really tapping into the meaningful stuff. So that's first part. Then you have a product that you can bank on. Once you have that, then it's about engaging that consumer, because the people marketing to your consumer in your core market, at least, before you expand, it's really about they don't understand how to reach this customer, right? Or how to engage them, how to activate them, whatever channel it may be. It may be within the channel itself, it may be through social, it may be through influencers, it may be through retail activations, whatever that is, but you connecting and creating an engagement with that customer, that's what then, I know the founder of this brand, I've seen them somewhere, somehow. So it's really about creating that familiarity, engagement more than anything else. And at the beginning, it's not about reaching 1 million customers or 100,000, right? It's about, there's a book circulating for a while, I think it's like 1,000 True Fans, or somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it's really finding your first 100 customers and then building to the next 1,000 and then building to the next 1,000 by building that product and brand engagement with them. Then you're really competing, it's not about competition, it's about consumer connection. Competition becomes less relevant, and it's about how you are serving the customer in the best way.
Thank you so much.
Hope that helps.
Definitely, thank you.
Thank you.
Just
Up next.
Just to add to that, when it comes to competition, like, he mentioned that, competition is something that you have to live with in any product category. An important part of differentiation, to my mind, is having a breakthrough either idea or a breakthrough product or a breakthrough way to communicate that product. And that's where the differentiation comes in. It need not necessarily, you can sell pardon my saying this for lack of any other example, one toilet paper from the other toilet paper can be the same. It's the same product. Where is the breakthrough between the two? One has a certain way of saying something about his product, the other has one way of saying something about the product. However, what connects with the customer more is where you succeed. And that's where the insight comes. The second thing is the product in itself could be something that the customer doesn't even realize he wants, and you brought up that idea of the product, and that's where the innovation or breakthrough idea comes for the product itself.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have Maya Apto, who's the co-founder of Outbound Generation. Just a quick refresher on the content we're going to cover. Start by giving us a one-line intro about the business, along with the challenges and innovations that you've implemented.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Maya Abdo, co-founder of Outbound Generation. We're a retail platform that focuses on Arab designers, local brands. We've launched early this year in February. And honestly, the challenges in marketing to challenge against these big companies that have a huge marketing budget, and as a startup to kind of build this brand awareness, because once we get to a customer, they love the product, they love the concept, they engage. But I think the hardest part is there's crazy numbers. What used to work a few years ago with influencers or micro-influencers doesn't work anymore. Email marketing doesn't have the same impact that used to have a few years back. So this is, I think, our biggest challenge as a startup.
So very briefly before, see, again, business is a dynamic field, whether the products change over a period of time, the way you communicate about those products changes over a period of time. And as I said earlier, the whole focus has to be that whether you have a product which is similar to the other product in the market, how is it that you're communicating about your product that is very different and very clutter-breaking in comparison to the other. It need not necessarily have to do with the amount of money being spent. What is more important is the core idea of what you're wanting to say, how that resonates with the customers. And as was mentioned earlier, that if you get your first 100 customers with that fabulous idea, you make them evangelists for the next 1,000 customers, and those 1,000 customers then become your evangelists for the future growth. So to repeat, it's not the amount of money that the competition has to spend that should concern you. That to my mind is a way of rationalizing to yourself as to why you're not being able to succeed. Maybe the better idea is to look at what you're saying and how fabulously different that narrative is in comparison to what somebody else is saying.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just to double click on this, today as a startup or a scale up, you have limited resources, right? Which means that you have to be smarter, more agile, more focused. So as an example, you cannot be going after GCC in year one because you don't have enough resources to speak multiple communications to multiple markets. You have to start one place to be able to crack your marketing message, that differentiated message that resonates. And you cannot go hands-on with the key brands that are established in the market, right? You cannot match their price, you cannot match their spending, you cannot get their influencers. So that's where you have to be innovative, right? From community activation, different communication style. You have to crack your own way to have a different way to reach your consumer. Once you go head on head with the key players, there's no way you're going to win, right? You don't have the same resources, so you have to be tackling it differently and make sure you're focused.
And again, just another thought off the cuff. The fact that you're a startup qualifies you to be a startup only if you have an idea that is disrupting the current competitive landscape. Otherwise, don't be a startup. Because then, like you said yourself, that you will be challenged by competitors or you'll be challenged by somebody who comes up with a Me Too product after you have launched.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Moving on, we have Nakia Murtaza, who's the founder of Nakia.
Hello, I'm Nakia. I'm the CEO and founder of the brand called Nakia. and we're into loungewear for ladies. If you're talking about challenges, I mean, loungewear honestly isn't really an untapped market. We've got huge players in the luxury as well as affordable options. But I strongly believe that our core focus has always been the best quality, the best finish, and the fact that we give the customer a feeling of customizing their own loungewear. And at the end of it, they feel very put together when they come home and they're not, sitting in old T-shirts. And I think, honestly, that approach, I think, is going to disrupt the market at one point in time. I don't know if that made sense.
It goes back to the similar two questions we had. It's in the same area, right? So maybe just to recap it again, it's like really understanding the customer, that's one. Two, either the product or the way you communicate it to that customer should be very different. To the extent that once the first 100 people, first 10 people become the evangelists, then they help you get the next 100, then they can help you get the next. If there isn't something disruptive, and we're not going to sugarcoat stuff.
Of course.
You're going to hear stuff to anyone who asks a question, like, it may be a signal, and you're early enough in your cycle to rethink, right? The cost of taking a risk now versus the cost of taking a risk later is much lower, right?
That's
so if you're seeing something is not working, take that signal and experiment and change. Okay, something is not working, it's not clicking with the consumer. I need to change either the product or the way I'm distributing it or the way I'm communicating it or marketing it or whatever it is. Take those as signals from the consumer, and the advantage you have is acting on it fast and experimenting, which the larger players will not have. Until you land on, oh, this worked. Okay, how can I do more of that? How can I double down on that?
Thank you so much for the inputs. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have Mahindra Sancheti, who's the owner and MD of Limited DXB.
Hello, thank you, Zahabia. Hi, my name is Mahindra Sancheti, and I'm owner and founder of LMTD DXB. It's a menswear, clothing, resort wear brand. It's founded in Dubai, and basically everything material to tailoring, everything being resourced and manufactured in Dubai itself. So there was a very niche market where even the winter time in Dubai, we needed resort wear, summer collection, but you could not find this easily. So here I am, it's been founded in 2021, and it's been 4 years now. And so far we're getting really good response, but the biggest challenge we face is actually the reach. A lot of people had never heard of LMTD DXP, and then why your product is more expensive than non-brand. So there's a lot of questions are there. People don't know unless they feel, touch, or try the products. Online, basically, we do advertisement marketing, but that's not enough because there's thousands of brands doing online marketing, all the Facebook, social media. But until people can really reach to the products and can feel the quality and can really see the difference, they're not gonna really believe into that, this whole idea and concept. So the reach, I would say, is the biggest challenge we face. Thank you.
How, if you don't mind me asking, how are you trying to reach them today?
So we got 2 stores, and one we have on concession-based retail departmental store, and then we have website, and we do exhibitions. So we started in the exhibition, the Ripe Market, in 2021. We still do that because that's where customer can really interact us.
Keep walking straight. Yeah.
Yes.
And is that working?
Yeah, the store is our 70% sales come from the physical store. Less than 30% would be online, or the customer who know us and want to do repeat buying without coming to the store. So the store is way to go, but obviously it needs a lot of investment. We would like to open next store coming year. But the phase of opening the store is actually not that fast, where you have the big players, they can open like 5 stores in 1 year. So that's our biggest challenge. But
Who's your target audience? Is it people in the UAE or tourists?
tourists and UAE expats as well. Basically, it's actually UAE GCC, because here you have whole year-round resort wear market. A lot of people come here for the holidays as well. They do shop even though they're staying here. A lot of people, they are traveling in the summertime to, for holidays, they shop as well with us. Yeah.
So I think you need to sharpen your consumer, because if it's residents and tourists and UAE and GCC and offline and online, you're limited resources. You can't do it. In the future, when you're bigger, you can do it all, right? Today, if I take big brands, in FMCG, Coca-Cola, they can do cinemas and cafes and restaurants and retail and online, but they haven't done this in 1 year. Similarly, you need to see where can you make the most impact. If you're saying, from what I heard, that once people touch it and try it, they say, wow, right?
Yes.
So where are those customers that when they say, wow, they will buy? Is it in the resorts? Have you looked at, for example, partnering with the resorts, doing something there? Is it about, working with concierge services? Is it about working? So you need to really identify what is the occasion, what is the moment that I can reach that customer in the right way.
Yeah, got it.
If it's a store, if it's a pop-up, if it's an exhibition, you have experimented now in a nice way with 3 or 4 different places. I would double down on the one that gives me the best value for money. Okay, store is the best, but it's the most expensive. Second best is pop-up, it's much cheaper, it gives me a similar result. How can I do more of these so that I can get people to experience? So narrow down your audience. I know a lot of us sometimes fear of narrowing down the audience. No, customer base is going to be too small. But that's fine. When you're in the early stage, having a narrow audience, there's this whole notion of building tribes. You have to build a consumer tribe that you understand very well, that you connect with, and then expanding on that tribe. Rather than trying to capture all the different audiences, becomes difficult. If tourists are not your audience, don't waste your time and money there. If you haven't experimented, experiment. Okay, if I do something for tourists, will it work better if I do something for residents? If I do something in the summer, is it better than I do something in the winter? So run a lot of experiments, low cost, fast. And whatever works best, double down on that. That way you will get a targeted reach rather than a huge reach.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the great advice. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Mahi. Up next, we have Ulfa Mazuz, who is the co-founder of the Private Drop. Thank
you. Hey everyone, I'm Ulfa, the CEO and co-founder of the Private Drop. We're an e-commerce platform, not your usual e-commerce platform. We offer limited time sales on high-end premium and luxury brands that last for 7 days and that offer discounts up to 70%. The main challenge that we face, as we are born in December 2024, so we are fairly new, we're still a baby in the game, but probably and actually surely a pioneer in the region. It's a concept that has been existing for 25 years in developed countries or developed markets such as France, where the pioneers have now reached the unicorn stage and have an approximate turnover of 3 billion euros a year. When we take these use cases that demonstrate a real value of the concept and we bring it to the region, we speak with the brands. They understand the value of the concept, but they fear being the first starters. This is our first challenge, although they operate in other parts of the world that use this concept, but they like it and they want us to start first with others and see how it works and eventually partner. The second challenge that we have faced is that when I say private sales here in this room, does it ring a bell for you? Who's familiar with the concept? Not many people. Are you? Fabulous. I want to talk with you after that. But the end consumer is not yet aware about the concept. So we have spent 8 months, instead of building partnerships with brands and focusing our energy and attention on that, we spent them on building a community that raises awareness about the concept in their own circles. And we call it the tribe. But still, it takes a lot of effort, time, energy, and lots of marketing spend as well. So my question to the esteemed jury here, what advice would you give us to be able to deconstruct or demystify the concept and raise awareness amongst brands, investors, and customers?
Look, one of the things in business in general is that you cannot expect, in general, I said there would be isolated cases, but in general you don't expect to become viral overnight. And that's a simple thumb rule. So the whole idea is not to be able to berate yourself saying that you are not able to go from point A to point B fast enough. The idea is to be able to look at doing things consistently while at the same time having the ear to the ground when it comes to your customer as to what, as was mentioned earlier by this panel, is his or her expectations from an offering that you may have. To my mind, the idea, again, at the cost of sounding repetitive, need not necessarily be disruptive at one level of being a product, which is a Me Too. What has to be disruptive has to be the way you communicate, because it's very difficult in today's day and age to come up with an idea that has not been tried before. So what option do you have? The option that you have is communicate that idea in a manner that is uniquely different. And this again may sound like generic advice, but if you think about the examples that you see around you that are successes today, they have all become successes because they have broken through the clutter on account of what they have offered and the manner in which they have offered.
Thank you. That's very valuable advice for us. Thank you.
Think of it this way. You said it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would have done it. So if you think you found something, the right tribe, that it's working, keep trying, keep doing it, keep finding, okay, what's a similar tribe?
Thank you. Thank you, Nader.
Thank you so much. Let's hear from Neha Malkani, who's the founder of Tao's Den.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Well, I am the founder of Tao's Den, but basically, my kids are the best support for me. So one fine day when they returned from Canada, and they said, well, we eat the fast food everywhere it's available. Why not we deliver fine food for them on the table, especially when it's summer? So there we just started inaugurating, discussing, and cooking few dishes and created our own menu in a different style. And there we go, just started Tao's Den with my cloud and catering kitchen. But yes, finding difficult to go around in the market to do the marketing and to get the best product on their table in the comfort of their home. So my question is, yes, we deliver everywhere through all the apps, Talaba, Deliveroo, Noon, Kareem, and the best possibles. How do we promote my fine dine brand to make them feel comfortable home?
Who's your target customer?
Everyone. Whoever loves Pan-Asians.
Whoever loves?
Whoever loves Pan-Asian food.
Pan-Asian food. So
Yes.
people who love Pan-Asian foods.
Yes.
And are you premium? Are you mass market? You said fine dining, so it's
Yes.
premium.
Yes.
Okay. What occasions do people like Pan-Asian food? Is it to
Well-
celebrate? Is it to...
Well, food is always a celebration. And celebration is always a food. Food first.
So what's stopping more people from trying it? If you're
Maybe-
already
may-
available in the apps.
Maybe a premium cuisine.
Premium cuisine?
Yes.
So just help me understand. You're saying you're available in all the channels,
Yes.
but you're not getting enough sales.
Yes.
Why?
But beyond having the sales from all the channels, I would like to promote my brand to move further to everyone, like how premium caterings, the weddings, events, everywhere.
Scale up beyond where you are. Well, I'm not the F&B expert here. No, okay, so look, disclaimer, I'm not an F&B expert. But the fact of the matter remains that, to scale up beyond a certain point, in any organization, big or small, during its process of evolution, it'll hit a plateau. Now, to break through from the plateau, either you innovate in terms of what you offer as a product, which means that while the platform is fine dining, that's fine. Now you find innovation through newer offerings within the menu that you have is one option. The other option is maybe you have hit a ceiling for yourself on the fine dining space. Can you look at something which is adjacent to that? Either move down the value chain with a sub-offering, or look at a menu offering which is, for lack of anything, as a consumer, a tasting menu which is more affordable but gives you the same offering in terms of the items on a menu. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an F&B expert. But again, in generic terms, hitting a plateau means that you have to look within yourself and simultaneously look at what the customer is thinking about you. Now that plateau could have been, for example, I would presume, and I'm thinking as I'm talking to you, one could be that maybe your existing customer has had enough of you, from a...
Yes.
I mean, how much of, for again, lack of any other example and not wanting to have casting any aspersion on your positioning, I mean, how much of Domino's pizza can I have every day? I mean, it may not be a parallel example, like I said, but that could be the fatigue factor that has possibly set in with your existing customer, to which an answer could be look at that customer, understand that customer more deeply, and maybe the fatigue is on account of the fact that there's too much repetitiveness in your menu for that particular target audience. So similarly, you have to, again, to repeat, if you hit a plateau, you have to think both for your product offering as well as your customer expectation.
Keep in mind that the comments, recommendations, what we're sharing is based on what we're hearing, right?
Yes.
So we don't know what you're plateaued at. It can be even way lower than exploring other channel, right? So if today you are still scratching the surface and you haven't yet cracked a repeat order, or you haven't identified which channel is working better for you, have you experimented in activating that channel or doing sampling or voucher? So there are a series of questions to be able to pinpoint the problem and understand where is it. But it's important for you to go through the journey and crack who's my customer, what's the occasion of consumption. Personally, I don't eat fine dining every day. There should be an occasion for the fine dining, right? So that's something that you need to understand, like who's my customer, what's the occasion, are they repeating, they're coming back, or they're not, so there's something that I need to change in the formula. So you have to try to be pragmatic, kind of like zoom out, look at the different pieces of the puzzle to understand where's the problem and move forward.
I always like to distill when there is that challenge, and many of the similar ones. I go back to basics. I go back to the 5 Ps, right? What's the product? What's the price? What's the place? Right? What's the promotion, which is marketing? And who are the people? I mean, that should be the first, right?
Yes.
So in each of these, you need to say where I am, what can I do different? Can I change the price? Maybe a taster menu. Can I change the products, go into not just Pan-Asian, other stuff, but still fine dining? Can I be on different channels? Can I promote differently within these channels? So within each of the 5 Ps, see what can I do differently and see what unlocks it. Oh, I changed my price, it increased my sales by 3 times. That's the end of my time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Up next, we have Nikita Gandhi, who's the founder and creative director of Nikki Calazioni.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nikita Gandhi, founder, creative director, designer, stylist for only menswear elite class. So this is my 5th year, and I started in DIFC in 2020 after COVID. So I have faced a lot of challenge. First of all, building a brand. Second, financial stability. Paying your, and going through the break-even point. After that, when you come to the 5th year, when you look at your marketing plus Instagram, social media, everywhere we have to pay, first of all. Everybody judge on Instagram how many followers you have, whether you are established, whether you are newcomer, whether you are an emerging designer. My work is more superior, more talented, and I'm doing a personalized luxury bespoke menswear. But somehow, if I want to grow on e-commerce or someone, suppose Farfetch is there, or Bloomingdale is there, Galeries Lafayette is there. If I want to approach them, I want to tell them I'm also a new upcoming designer, and I want to keep some of my design in your venture. So everybody just look at your, how famous you are, because how many followers you have, and how financial stability you have. Of course, when you grow, you need an investor, or you need a financial sound background to raise your growth. Means I don't know, it's like how everyone judge that new upcoming designer, they don't give any kind of the platform to grow. So I really appreciate, I have a very good network. My business grows only by network and referred by. I'm not doing any marketing at the moment. I'm doing everything myself, because being a one solo entrepreneur, you have to go through a lot of challenges, lot of financial challenges also, and plus you have to deliver best, because I am in luxury bespoke menswear. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. It's quite interesting when we speak to many founders, many business owners. First of all, for me, it's motivating and exciting to speak to founders, because usually they are filled with energy and motivation. And the journey you guys go through, and we went through, is never easy, all right? Like Bloomingdale, all the different retailers. Can you imagine how many brands they can come to them every day? They have a decision to take, which brand I'll put on the shelf that rotates the best revenue for me, right? So they have to take that decision based on the little information they have and the limited time they have, which puts a lot of pressure on you, right? How do you create your story? How do you create your brand? How you create the PR around it? How you create your social handle, which is important today. You cannot be in the fashion business and be in the retail without having a social handle. That will not work, right? So you want to be facing consumer, you have to create a brand around it. And like it or not, there's so many doors you're going to knock before one opens, which means that you, as a business owner and a founder, you have to be resilient. You have to have thick skin, like what we say in sales, and don't take it personally. It's business, all right? And you keep trying till you are able to find the crack and the opportunity that you are looking for, while trying to build a brand name for you and the network that will help you reach there.
Yeah, but on this, I have one question for the new designers and new emerging designers. So they will never have any chance to, okay, fine, Louis Vuitton or any Prada brand, they have a story. They have a story of 30, 40 or ages. It's like, for the 5 years, designers, there is no platform and nobody means they don't welcome you also.
Should list
So
on Maya's platform. There you go. But jokes aside, right? So every big brand was a small brand once. Every established designer, every established brand was once a small unknown brand, was an up and coming designer, was an up and coming entrepreneur. They didn't get there, you know, like Sandeep was saying, nobody got there in a day and night. I think what we see these days in social, it makes everything seem that, oh, this is an overnight success. Sometimes it is, but what are the chances? One in a, I don't know how many, I don't know the stat, someone will know the stat better. One in a how many will be that? Now, that will depend on universal conditions for that to happen. Everybody else needs to fight it out. So keep ideating, keep trying. Sometimes the breakthrough will come in year 6, sometimes it will come in year 16. If you are happy with what you're doing, you continue doing it. If you're not happy with what you're doing, change it. Nobody is stopping you. Change how you're doing it, change what you're doing. If you're happy doing it, keep trying until you crack it. If you're not, change.
but in Dubai, to keep trying, there is a cost of money.
Absolutely. So is there in the US, so is there in Europe, so is there in India, so is there in Australia, everywhere.
Yeah, also just to add, look, as a designer, from a consumer perspective, there are certain expectations. And you cannot ignore those expectations. To say that you don't invest in social media or you don't build a profile for yourself, that's counterproductive in the industry that you are. It's the face as much as the designs that if you look at any history of any designer globally, as it was mentioned that they started as a startup at some point, but they build over a period of years, not just because of the quality of their cut or the silhouette that they created, but it was also to do with the profile that they built for themselves. And therefore, in the industry that you're in, whether you like it or not, you have to invest in personal profiling. And that's probably one of the things that you need to do to be able to achieve the scale that you are looking to achieve.
Great, thank you so much. Up next, we have Sakina Saif, who's the founder of Blandwear. I'm sorry, we're a little pressed for time, so if you guys can just keep it a little shorter, that would make my life a little easier.
We'll try.
We'll take the questions in the end.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sakina, and I'm the founder of Blandwear. It's nice to see so many menswear here because there was definitely me entering and thinking I'm one of the only few who has a men's homeware brand. But yes, I'm the founder of Blandwear. It's men's homeware. The good thing is quite a few questions are already answered in the past questions that everyone asked. But let me touch upon two things that you just mentioned. You can hit your virality or landmark moment at year 6 or 16, and then you mentioned keep doing what you love. But from a purely business perspective, what would be the advice as to when does one recognize that this is not working? Just a small example. So let's say my homeware purchased by 10 men. Everyone loves it. But it doesn't reach the other 1,000 men that I want to. I'm very clear who I want it to reach, but it doesn't reach them. It could be the marketing, the communication, once tweaked, once tried and tested. Where does one know that maybe this isn't what the men want? So how does one recognize that?
If the feedback is strong,
yes,
and there is adoption, then you just keep doing that. And then I think someone mentioned there comes a time where you say, listen, the 10 people that have tried it have said, I've never tried something as good all my life.
Right.
Right? And saying, okay, great. Now, how do I put some marketing money? I'm not again just as Sandeep was mentioning in F&B, I'm not a fashion or luxury expert, but to your point, from a business sense. So I would say, okay, you know what? I have proven success. How much money do I need to invest in marketing, in sales, to reach the next 100 people? Do I have that, or do I need to get funding from, usually it's friends and family, or it's angel investors, or whatever? Okay, then I reach the next 100, and all of them also love it. Wow, I'm onto something. Then I need to go and raise either self-funded from within the business.
Right.
If you have a great gross margin, you can fund it from your own business. You don't need investors.
Right, reinvest.
If you need funding, then you go and find new investors and say, hey, you know what? This is where I am so far. I've cracked the supply chain. I have a fantastic product. I know my customer. 100 out of 100 are falling head over heels for them. They're telling their community about it. I need another X to do X, Y, Z to reach the next million customers. So you need to identify your opportunity size. Is it 100 customers? Is it 1,000? Is it such a premium product that your market size, just as we were speaking on F&B,
Yes.
you need to know your market size. No third party will know it. No investor will know it. No bank will know it. No friends and family. Say, what's with my idea? What's the market size? How big can this be? And then back work that. And you take it step by step, right? It's not about having a grand plan. Yes, I want to make this big. I start with 10. I learn, I go to the next 100. I learn, I go to 1,000. And I see, what does the business need to go from 10 to 100? Does it need money? Does it need people? In most of the cases, it needs some money. Can you finance it from within your own business? Fantastic. Can you finance half of it from your own finances? Great. So you need to identify what takes you to the next level.
Thank you. Very, very helpful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next, we have Sasha Sanchez, who's the founder of Atlas and Maya.
Thank you. Hi. Atlas and Maya is a designer baby wear brand that we focus on skin first. And the best part is that we get to be part of the best memories of a baby because we do very cute little clothes. So my challenge that I would like to discuss today would be it directly in B2B, because this doesn't happen to me D2C, is similar to the lady here. When you approach a retailer or a boutique as a Dubai brand or a UAE brand, they ignore you. Funny thing is that for me it's easier to sell B2B outside of UAE and outside of the GCC as a Dubai brand. People in the US, in Europe, and even Lebanon buy more from us as an exotic maybe, but locally we get a challenge in B2B. But when we do pop-ups, it's the opposite, because locals, expats, and tourists love to shop from us as a UAE brand.
So what's the question?
How do you overcome that in the local B2B, in the GCC industry, to give us space, besides Outbourne, to enter into the big retailers, because there is a monopoly in the UAE retail space. Even with the malls, when you go and try to open a store, doesn't matter the funding if you have it or not. If you're not a Westerner brand, the big malls won't entertain you to open your concept store.
Yeah, so somebody earlier also mentioned about the challenge of things like listing fee and so on. What you have to understand before you try and penetrate a particular channel or a market segment is to see what the dynamics of that particular channel is. And the retail market in let's say the Middle East and largely GCC is very organized through what we call modern trade, which means that large chains call the shots. And for them, retailing, it is less retailing and more maximization of the real estate returns. So hence the fact is that for them, a shelf is a piece of real estate that has to be monetized. So you have to understand dynamics of respective segments and see which is a lower hanging fruit that you can go for. So maybe today it's not the right time for you to look at a retail chain entry. Maybe because even the retail chain will not give you enough attention, as you said, because you're a brand that's possibly not that well known in your current stage of growth. So I would, if I were you, spend more time doing more efficiently where you are getting your current returns and building more on that before seeking another channel. First exhaust that opportunity and then move to another new market channel opportunity is what I would recommend.
Awesome, thank you so much. The buzzers are pointing us to wrap up quick. But next we have Tasneem Mustafa, who's the founder of Tasneem Mustafa. Let's keep it quick so that everybody has their speaking opportunity as well, and you can also hear from the moderators.
Hi, my slogan is why fit in when you can stand out. We make custom clothing for modern women, and I make it all made to order for all women in different sizes. I had many, many questions, but I'm going to be, all my questions are answered because I think we all have the same problems and I don't want to repeat my questions. So thank you so much, and it was good to hear all your advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we have MENA, who's the founder of Pure Face, Cocoa Wipes, and Gnome.
Hello. I am Yana Sabagh. I have three D2C brands. One of them is Pure Face, which is single-use cotton towels to replace acne-filled bathroom towels, which cause acne and irritation. The other one is Cocoa Wipes, which is pure cotton wipes, which is made for the health-conscious parent and the child with sensitive skin. And Gnome, which is a baby clothing brand, which blends premium quality fabric with Arabic heritage. And my question to you, and my biggest struggle would be similar to everyone else, customer acquisition, marketing, and I love what you said, which is refining the communication. That's how you stand out. And my question is, how do you do that? There's so many options. One of them is hiring an agency, expensive, especially if you're a startup. Do you put that upfront cost even if you're getting it from an outside investment? Do you hire a marketeer from the very beginning, a good marketing manager, put that upfront cost in capital? Or do you, just get like freelancers to do the work for you? Because refining that message takes copywriting, videography, and so on. So I'd love to know, if you were a startup, how would you go about it?
I've rarely seen, with all respect to agencies, I've rarely seen at this early stage agency work, unless you have a friend there that's willing to work with you, pro bono. And some agencies do that. You know what? We believe in you. We know you. We believe in you. We're willing to take a shot. We know in the future when you grow, you're going to come spend with us. So if you have access to an agency or an advisor, that is great. And I would start with that. But it always will start from you. So it's not necessarily at this stage at the early stage of a brand. It's not about having the sharpest communication. It's really about having the insight, because you started those brands based on an insight. Start from that. Start from those insights. Write a whole bunch of messages. Create a whole bunch of visuals. Today with tools like Canva, with AI, it's much easier. I will not say it's easy. It's much easier than before. So you may still need an expert. I would tap into my network. Go to friends, family, whether they have an agency or not, and I would test it with them. Hey guys, send it on WhatsApp. I have 10 visuals, 10 messages. Which one did you like the most? Great. And you don't need a budget for that. You'll hear about A/B testing. You do that when you have a budget, no matter how small it is. But first, it's create. Test cheaply with your audience, with your customers, with your network. See what works and just keep trying there. When you're bigger, then you say, okay, now I need to get more, disruptive. That's the next stage. The faster, the better.
There is one point that cuts across all businesses coming from business side. You have to look at your cash flow, and you have to look at it continuously. And this is the graveyard of startups in year 2 or 3 that they don't manage the cash flow, and suddenly the exposure is too big, and the business breaks down. So even working with our startup portfolio companies, we have a touch point once a month where we look at the P&L, how much did we spend last month, we decide on how much we're going to spend next month based on your sales projection. So for example, I'm going to sell next month worth of 100,000 dirham. I'm going to allocate 30,000 for marketing. And then I run with that. Second month, I offset based on the actual to plan the month after. But the point is you have to have a plan. You have to have a financial cadence at least once a month where you review your cash flow, your budgets, and you adjust and plan accordingly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're running head to head with the buzzer, but I'm adamant on getting this done. So next up, we have Shireen Abdullah, who's the founder of Adaye. Adaye, sorry.
Hi everyone. I'm Shireen. I'm the founder of Adaye. At Adaye, we sell organic and biodegradable period care. The question that I would like to pick your brains on is, given that one of my goals is to build a brand that is geared for exit, how do I translate that into financial targets over the next few years? So one tool that I rely on is looking at exit data from parallel companies. Now, mind you, those are mostly abroad. I try to extrapolate that given our region, but is there any advice on how to go about doing that financial planning so that I can know what direction to be growing the business?
Yeah, sure. It's quite interesting, right? So there's a lot of people that would build a brand or a business to stay as a legacy in the family and then give it to their children and so on. And there's founders that want to build a business to scale it up and exit, which is quite common these days. In both companies, you need to build strong fundamentals, which means you need to build a brand, right? You need to have a strong fundamental in place, and you need to grow your business. That's whether you're going to exit or not, because end of the day, even if you're going to exit, they're going to vet you and make sure that everything makes sense, and you have built a brand that is equal to a certain valuation. Now, where the difference comes into play, it's how fast you need to go. Right? If you're building something to exit, means you have to be very agile, very sharp, very aggressive, and relentless driving the growth. Now, going from 0 to 1 million is a journey, and that's for us one milestone, the $1 million. Then from million to 10 or to 5, that's another milestone. For us, going from 0 to 1 million depends on the company, the brand, how fast it's moving, and so on, and how are you putting your channel plan. Then from 1 onward, our recommendation, what we look at within the FMCG consumer brands, is at least to double every year. And this is kind of like, for us, it's not very aggressive to a level where you get lost, you get diluted, yet it's not too small where it's not exciting. It has to show exciting growth, right? So that's where like, okay, go to 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and so on. To the level where it becomes exciting. So once you exceed $10 million profitable company, then it opens up different perspective for acquisitions, right? So there's different groups that would target 10 to 15, different groups would target 20, 25, 50, 100, and so on. So there will be different metrics, which we'd love to discuss, share with you.
Is that annual revenue or revenue since inception?
Annual. Yeah, so that's where it becomes. Now, in terms of valuation, you would need to look at benchmarking, right? So there's a lot of public deals that are happening globally where you get to see like within personal care, healthcare, food, beverage, what are the exits that happened over the last few years and what was the valuation like. Usually it's a multiple of EBITDA based on your profitability. As an average for us, we look at 8 to 12 times EBITDA. right? So depending on, of course, those are for branded products, not commodities. They're depending on your gross margin, your profitability, your scalability, and all of that. There are multiple dimensions. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. Next we have Ivana, who's the head of sales and operations from House of Noya.
Hello, so I represent House of Noya, which is a niche luxury fragrance brand. We are based in Dubai, but our portfolio is made in Italy. So many of the challenges which have been already mentioned are also very relevant to us, but I would say the biggest challenge, quite particular to the fragrance brand, is that our potential customers need to try our products on their skin. Especially being a niche fragrance brand where our fragrances are not commercial, so can be quite complex, not very easy. There is a big aspect of storytelling as well involved. So we need to have that direct contact with our customers. As a new brand, still building brand awareness, we do not have retail presence. So of course, we invest a lot in our own e-com, but the biggest challenge is how to make sure that people have the opportunity to try our products on their skin. And a few years back, I could answer my own question because I would be like, okay, just sign up with one of the distributors specializing in beauty or fragrance category. But nowadays, the challenge with distributors is that they want to sign up brands which are already recognizable. So the aspect of that brand building is not really there because everyone wants to have already a strong brand in their portfolio. So we do invest in pop-up stores, we take part in trade shows and so on to gain that exposure. But I would really love to hear your thoughts. What else could we do as a new brand? Thank you.
Do you do? Please.
So two things that I can think off the cuff is when you're saying that fragrances, of course, one has to have an affinity for the product before you actually invest in it. Two easy ways that I can immediately think of is positive word of mouth without the trial. So if more people are talking about your product, means that you're breaking down one resistance of somebody wanting to first try out the product before they buy it. So word of mouth is an obvious way of going about it. And the other is inducing trials. So look at opportunities, look at channels where you induce trials. So rather than invest in e-com, for example, invest in, for example, social media or part of the social media budget, you could transfer to actual sort of trials or sampling, exactly. Yes, and partnerships, which ensure that more and more people are aware of the product and more people are talking about it. If you have that much of confidence in the quality of your product and the fact that the product is so differentiated.
Yeah, of course, that's another challenge because I can say that fragrance category virtually exploded over the past few years. So competition is extremely fierce, but thank you so much for your advice. Yes, word of mouth definitely sometimes can make a huge difference.
Thank you so much. Our last participant of the evening is Nurul Sabah, who's the founder and CEO of Chai Shai.
Hello, good evening. I'm Dr. Nurul Sabah. I'm a medical doctor by profession and artist at heart, and I can say an entrepreneur by passion. I own a restaurant and a cafe in Ajman known as Chai Shai Restaurant and Coffee Shop. We we tried doing something different because already the cafe competition was quite high. Like as you know, in Dubai, there are like multiple cafes in every nook and corner of Dubai. So we tried to overcome this challenge by doing something different. We sort of, you can say, we created a pop dates, like, you know, how it is in Archie's, where they used to hang out, a sort of a community center where people can get together and they can do, they can represent themselves, they can do art, they can do poetry, they can just basically a community connection point we made. And we have lots of events, we have lots of interactive segments with our customers. So basically what we did was we targeted the emotional aspect of our customer. We thought that, okay, if we connect with them emotionally, we can retain them. And it did work. It did work, yes. We are quite different from the others. We do multiple events throughout the week, throughout the month. Now, there are multiple challenges, and most of them were answered, but I'm sorry if this question's been asked. I joined in a little late, about poaching, about competitors who are not healthy, competitors who try to break you and you know, set up their own business by, there is a healthy competition where you know there is a restaurant who's introduced something, like if you've introduced a buffet for 35, they would introduce a buffet for 35. Okay, now how do we overcome this? We probably go like, okay, kids go free, or we would introduce something free with it, you know, or we'd offer them something. But things like, if they copy our brand, they copy our style, they break our you know, employees, they break our chefs or our waiters or something. So how do we overcome? Because this really takes a toll on my mental state, because we work so hard to be different. And if someone just jumps in and tries to break you, it breaks you really inside. So I would just, that's my question. I mean, competition, healthy competition, and then there's this unhealthy poaching competition. I would like your thoughts about this, please. Thank you very much.
See, it's competition is competition. I think anyone, as long as it's not unethical or illegal, competition will do whatever they need to do to survive. So, and there's many different ways, right? They will copy what you're doing. I would see this as a compliment, right? It means you're innovating, you're doing things differently, and it's about how you are reacting to it, right? So, oh wow, they copied me. It means I'm doing something different, something interesting, something that they are seeing a value in. So continuing to innovate becomes the game rather than feeling bad about the competition. That's on, you know, the ideas and the... Similarly on people, right? I think building, I think Andreas said it in the beginning, one of the gentlemen, is saying about building culture and loyalty within your team. If you do have such a strong culture, loyalty, whatever it may be, they can offer more money, but they will have more loyalty to you, right? Of course, from the more people you have, the less likely this will be, because someone will be tempted. However, it still remains true. Today, nothing stops anybody from going and hiring. It happens. Today, Coke hires from Pepsi, Mars hires from Mondelez, and many of the names here. So that happens in the market. We need to accept it and move on. So I don't think there is anything that can be done about it, if I can be frank, except what you can do internally. What can I do to build the loyalty and culture amongst my team, so that even if they're offered, okay, up to X% more, they would rather stay with me rather than go. That would be my best advice.
Great, thank you so much. We've wrapped up our town hall session officially. Thank you so much to our moderators and all of our participants. Let's give everybody a big hand of applause.
Thank you.